We are back. We're here to do the update for the Twin Flame Collective. It doesn't matter whether you're in contact or whether you're not. I coach you, so we're going to pull the energy, and I have written down some of the downloads that I've had. For those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic medium as well as a twin flame whom is in union and still working through my process spiritually. So all things aside, I have noticed very synchronistically through my path, I try and guide you guys as to give you a hand through the journey, because it can become quite a maze. And a lot of it, whether we want to believe it or not, is the spiritual work. And I was talking to Giggle about that this morning and a few other people. Really from the perspective, I think, when we're in the very early stages. Hi, everyone. We do tend to look at it very 3D. So, it's almost like we're negotiating with ourselves. It's like, this is just a standard relationship. It was only that easy, guys, right? If only it was that easy. It's very spiritual, guys, and I'm going to explain how. Because, sometimes we do get into accidentally a bit of 3D ego, more from a perspective of, trying to rationalize and look at things and go, this isn't real. I'm not a twin. Maybe I'm the karmic. Whether you are or not, you're still thinking of the person. So it's a bit funny. Hi, everyone. It's a bit funny that we kind of go into that mindset, because does it need the tag theoretically? The tag kind of does help us understand why we are going through these things and the importance of self-healing, because it really does block the journey. And I was saying to Giggle this morning, it was really unique that for me, I did not know the tag twin flame until about 3-4 years ago, roughly. But always felt it was because I was a psychic medium that energy was there, had that ego attachment to the connection. And the further into your ascension you get, you end up becoming quite psychic. So all of you will become quite telepathically tuned in, so to speak. It's part of the awakening process. I will say that the benefit of me not knowing for that many years is that when we did go into separation, then did come back, even prior to us reconciling, it was unique to look back on the journey and see patterns. And that's what I share with you. The patterns, in a sense, have really showed me to really step back and look at the synchronicities of, I noticed that when we deemed the runner internally, if I was brutally honest, I was running inside. So the runner chaser mode is the spiritual healing. It's when you're running from something and you can see that person running. You're running from it inside, but you don't want to acknowledge it. And sometimes there's that lack energy that we hold accidentally inside that we're none the wiser of. And we're trying to convince the other to see something from a certain perspective. But at the opposite side of the spectrum, it's almost, well, do you need to prove something? You'll never need to prove anything. So looking back on the pattern of the journey, there were times where I may have held twin on a pedestal. And then after, really theoretically, when you look at it, twins, masculines do actually hold you guys on pedestals, for those of you that are feminine that are watching. More from the perspective that they're looking at you thinking you're daft. Why do you want me for? I haven't got my life together, so why on earth would you be with me? So you're doing the same thing. You're just saying it in different words. And it's really the art of really sitting back and being amused by the whole thing. It's like, I don't want to put tags on it in a sense of it's like we're not taught these things. It can go back to almost kids in the playground and he pulled my hair so that, he hates me, when it's they're trying to get your attention. That's a real kind of horrible analogy, but sometimes when we really peel that onion back, it is very much to that point where our habits are our conditionings. Oh, hi, Dale. Thanks for that. So a lot of what has been coming up has been almost because, and I said this would happen, I was like, this is ridiculous. So we've had Venus retrograde, feeling a bit crazy, seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly, which you can't say on this occasion really it was the good, the bad, the good. It was heavy energy. I really say it was heavy energy. And we do have Mercury in Cancer at the moment in retrograde. And you really need to be mindful of the roads. And I really felt a very strong energy of a lot of things in the media coming up, to do with children, to do with scarred sexual wounds and things to that degree. Definitely with transport, when you're driving, be careful with that. Children actually having their throat chakra activated. So a lot of things in the media connected to family, our emotions, our home, they've all really been coming up. And with the astrology having Saturn returned back into Capricorn, I really did feel it would be a very heavy shove. We do have the Mars aspect there that initially, you might be running on all pistons and then suddenly be feeling really tired. It's because we have Chiron and Aries retrograding. So that's the fatigue energy that's coming through. So initially, yes, Mars has entered into Aries, which is great, providing you can get to a space where you're not going to be combative and in ego and agitated, which is a potential. So when we're feeling that, just always go to that traffic light analogy that I use, which is, red, okay, you're fired up. Yellow, okay, inner child wound, slow down. What are you trying to create here? And then green, okay, operate from a space of heart and then proceed forward. It's hard to do that when we're triggered though, and sometimes you'll find that you may react instantly, have that large throat chakra and then retreat back and go, whoa, okay, I really need to think about this. There has been a lot of purging, linking in with lineage at the moment. So both masculines and feminines have been really mentally retrograding back to childhood. And it's more, where did you come from to how far are you now? And how very different you are at this point. And I've definitely been sitting there thinking back to the old energy of what I was versus the new energy of who I am. And really not recognizing the energies any longer. I see the benefit in it through that process. You don't ever feel it's a luxury or it's a benefit. It's like, heck, get me out of here. I really want to stop this frequency. It kind of is, astrology at the moment is feeling slightly sarcastic because we had the conjunction in January, which was changing society. We still had the nodal energies moving through. That was bumping us for 6 on that Cancer-Capricorn axis. And we did just have the eclipse in Capricorn. So a lot of you may be sitting there really ready to manifest. And I say manifesting, slightly depending on where you are in the path, because the further into your ascension process you get, you actually realize you've been manifesting this whole time. 9 times out of 10, it's been more the negative aspect of things. It's all that fear-based frequency that we directly, embody. And because we embody it, we directly attract it, which is kind of a bad habit. It's like purging a bad habit. It's like, don't think of that, tune out of that. And, it's the things that come up that react to that you directly attract. So a lot of times on my twin flame path, things that I was afraid of directly, I would think on so much that I would physically actually give energy to that and it would occur. So I learned early on in the piece to stop doing that because it was causing a lot of conflict for me. And once all of those fear-based frequencies have been realized and have occurred, it's almost like you physically and spiritually don't have anything to hide behind any longer. So it can benefit you, although you don't want to address it at the time. So now that Venus has gone direct and everyone's suddenly feeling very okay, we want to move forward, you got to remember Venus energy at a very personal level. Many of you may have been going through the psychiatry of what have I actually done with my twin? What have I actually done at the social level with this lockdown energy? Gemini is very social. So you might have been even getting to a space where you've been looking at your routine and how to fine tune that. And the heaviest energy has been, where have we been placing energy? And it's really been siphoned. I mean, ascension is horrendous regardless. But I do feel even those of you that had been in hermit mode, a lot of you are sitting there going, okay, how can we actually utilize our energy more effectively here, in a sense of what do we put our energy into? And that's the Capricorn axis going on at the moment with Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto. It is hard work. So what you put your energy into, you're just not going to waste time on things that your heart's not in. And you guys do have heart chakra feminine and masculine. I understand. I've pulled external energies and the reasons why you're operating from that space, and I have pulled the energy between you. And now, with Neptune going retrograde, it's like, God, talk about uncanny timings. Just in case you felt a little bit delusional, let's just get Neptune going retrograde. A lot of disclosure coming up. So you may be assessing people's frequency, really tuning into, it could be even videos that you're looking at, and it's yay or nay for you. You're really going to be in that, I would say, crown chakra energy. Which is another reason why a lot of you may be getting tired and very lightheaded as well. With the masculines, I have been meditating upon them this morning. There has been, how do I space it? A lot of them have been meditating upon life, death, and birth. In a sense of a frequency. Let me see why that is. I'll look at the astrology. Where's... Pisces, Ascension. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. I'm just looking at the astrology of, the masculines at the moment. Okay. Jupiter placement. It's really hit. Okay. Whatever they're working on at the moment, I would really feel that they've really plowed their energy into it. So those masculines that are working, or what they're directly working on at a spiritual level, they're actually having a bit of space and time. So you could be with them or not, and it would still be that way, because it's almost like the separation, in a sense, has been for both individuals, being that this is a number 4 vibration, yeah. It's for the masculines and the feminines to get into, it's almost like you're being reborn. I'll say that. That's how 2020 is really moving forward for all of us. We're transforming through this process. A lot of timelines are shifting. Interesting. They're really meditating upon, how they have reacted. And a lot of times masculines do hold really bad self-talk towards themselves. So many of my clients, as well as masculines that I've been working with, I have noticed a pattern coming up in them is that a lot of them had a very poor self-talk energy. And with that self-talk energy that's been coming through, they're really more moving towards comprehending. I think a lot of their healing is coming through from the perspective that they're seeing how other people have related to adversity, similar to what they've gone through, and they're actually seeing how they directly dealt with it. Sometimes they're not giving themselves enough credit as to how they have dealt with certain things and moved through their ascension process. And it's going to be really varied in a sense, but it's almost like looking at some of these blockages did come from past over loved ones. Some of these blockages did come from fear-based frequency of you passing. And again, life, death, birth, rebirth. So all these new beginnings, and also wanting to keep everyone happy. A lot of times when we talk about healthy boundaries, and again, I talked to Giggle about this morning. The healthy boundaries, there was one question that was asked on my channel towards masculines. And again, I will say, the question in a roundabout way was, does the masculine think about you while they're either in a karmic relationship or, hanging with someone or something to that degree? Yes, they do. But the ironic thing was, through my healing process, I actually realized there were many warning signs on the wall. And feminines, I think, some of you may actually understand what I'm talking about. Yes, from a perspective throat chakra, it does help. But this is what trains us. We are very psychically inclined, very empathically inclined. very similar to the way they see you, you actually see them, unfortunately. So in the initial stages, you may have really placed them on a pedestal and seen all the potentiality of where this situation can go. They also, with you, however, they also knew some things that needed to change. Yes. Okay, so they also knew that they needed to have some things changed. So when you look at it, if that person isn't loving themselves, and if that person is looking like they're going to hell and back, but they don't know the hay for the sky, and you're hoping that somehow in the midst of that, and you've got to go back, the way we can heal this is to look at a circumstance we directly have been in, and that's the separation of the energy. So it's like you need to separate yourself from the situation and go, okay, where have I been in my life that somebody has been asking something of me, but I have been on the bones of my bottom and really not felt that great, and somebody is needing something of me. Unless you are whole, you cannot give anything to anyone. So yes, they have the love for you, and the love is releasing you, because while they're in that frequency, you're just not going to get the best out of them. It's very hard for us to disconnect, because it does feel like we're leaving a soldier. And that's us embodying maybe a little bit too much masculine frequency, and also needing to create those healthy boundaries with ourselves and actually say, hey, hang on a minute. I have been seeing the writing on the wall, and I've been seeing the warning. This person's really stuck, and it can be for many reasons. It could be because they could be with a karmic that has their children, and they might be a little bit narcissistic or abusive, and they're concerned about the financial aspects of things, the welfare of situations. It can be 101 things. So you've got to look at the circumstances, but while you're in pain, you can't do that. It'll just trigger you, right? The butterflies are essences of transformation. So yes, the masculines do think of you. That's why they are retreating, to give you that space so you don't and sometimes they will create more toxic situations for you to purge, and plus it's what they believe of themselves regardless. So the energy of toxicity, so to speak, and behavioral energies is almost like how do I put it, a means to make you get turned off them, if that makes sense. No communication, or we can feel very disconnected and found out. Just keep focusing on your path, Dale. You can't do the work for people. And at the moment with Neptune retrograde in Pisces, it's a lot of psychology. So habits and things to that degree can come up. But again, it's almost not utilising things as excuses. The person has to spiritually be ready, to be able to deal with those things, which they will. But it's don't let it get you off your path. That's the work that we do on ourselves needs to get us to a space, because it can look from external people like it's a very addictive energy. Further into your ascension, you will not be thinking of them, but the frequency will be you'll feel them. So it's very interruptional, so to speak. You're almost like, look, peace, love, and light. I hope you're great. I'm really trying to focus on me. So in the initial stages, it looks very much like an addiction to a relationship, but it's because you're spiritually feeling their energy. The further into it, you are just trying to upgrade your energy. You do have to tune out of them. And I know some advisors will say the polar opposite, but it's what's worked for me. And for the ones that I have helped move towards union, they have been utilising that. It's worked for them. And it's because your ascension, you do tend to feel their energy. So some of the purging further into the journey is more their energy, not yours. But while you've got attachment to that, you're going down with them. And the reason they are going through heavy ascension is because you're purging, releasing, moving, ascending, and it's pulling them because you're linked. But they'll do the same to you as well. So if there's an area you need to move through, that will help too. Yeah, they're yellow light. Okay, let's get into this read and see what's coming through for you guys. Okay. a lot of you are looking at what you do and don't like. You know, what do you want to put your energy into? What don't you? Some of you, and this is both of you jointly, you're going to move through a space of looking at money, career, investments, friendships, family. It's literally anything you are putting your energy into. You may be getting to a space where you're weighing up the pros and cons. Okay, where's my judgment at? Am I pouring my energy into this? But a lot of what you don't want is coming up, which shows you then what you do want, which does make sense. So because both energies have experienced things that aren't attractive, lower frequency energy, probably through Venus retrograde, I would say. Plus, remember that Venus retrograde was in Gemini, and you always do look at it from your perspective. It's not, okay, Venus retrograde blast from the past. It's what do you think about that blast from the past? So it's your personal Venus retrograde, in a sense, that you're going back. And many of you may have been thinking about what you used to do with your twin, what you used to do with other people. What were those social things? Did you have things in common? It's not just, you know, it's almost like reunions and goal, and it's really not. You know, there's the bigger picture of things. It's merging situations, and many of you will have so much in common, but there's also slight things that are going to be so polar opposite. I mean, my twin's fully into eating meat, and it just has not been working with my intestines. So I'm having to move back to that vegan-based diet. Again, energy work coming up where we're needing to exercise, and the frequency, especially if you're not having intimate relations, you need to exercise because you've got all that chi energy, and it's really the depletion of that energy. It's building, but you're supposed to put it to good use. So any fear-based frequency, aggression, anger, you need to pour it into creativity. You need to detach from it, look at why it's coming up. The lethargy can also come through there, which can cause addictive tendencies, eating. It's anything that's coming up at an emotional level you can transform, but it's directly showing you what you do and don't want. Now, paperwork galore, and I don't, again, Mercury retrograde, it makes sense. If you guys are looking at your pentacles, your money, again, it's more I'm getting from the Eight of Coins. It's more the energy of, you know, where have you been giving your power away? What have you been putting your energy into? That's really what I'm picking up, you know, with this frequency. But I am seeing a lot of documentation, planning, and maybe even reflecting back on how far you've come in the journey, where you're going to from here, and how it's going to look. Some of you, if you are thinking of a blockage in the path, and it's almost like you're trying to spiritually work it out in your mind how it would come about, you need to directly tune out of that and make peace with it. Because while you do that, it's attachment energy and it delays the journey. And I'm saying because I've applied it myself, and I have had in and out about 4 or 5 times with twin, so I know this to be true over 20 years. When you have attachment to what they would need to do, how it would need to be, what the obstacles are, you're tuning into it, which you're tuning into embodying that energy, which is allowing that frequency at a psychic level to remain the same. Tower moments at times actually move those blockages. Plus, if we hold some energy inside us that's true, we're going to reach that pivotal point regardless. It's just a matter of when. A lot of you are tuning back into betrayal energy, third-party energy. So there is this deep reflection on third-party energy. But it's collectively. I've got the masculine and the feminine's energy here. This is the energy between you. So both of you are doing this. You're both looking at where the external blockages are, where the interference is coming from, why the betrayal come through, whatever that be. But there's a lot of focus on that at the moment. I'm going to pull clarifiers as I go. They are aware of the hurt this has caused, but it's hurt them too. They also were fearful that you would actually And at times, potentially, it may be that some of you may have at a point in your journey, been with somebody else, you know, and that's really coming up for them, the focus on it. This can even be coming up through throat chakra, so I do feel this is a conversation that's going to come up. I also feel there, I'm seeing some actually sitting back. They may have received a message from a person, but they're not dealing with it the same way that they used to. It's funny because it's almost like they've seen, oh, thanks, Dale. Okay, so there's this third party energy. Love you, Valerie. Now, be it they're tuning into it, I do feel there's been communication from somebody other than Divine Feminine. Be it they're with somebody or not, there seems to be something that's come through in a sense of communication. Now, they're very focused on you and what went down and third-party energy. And bang, this communication's coming, but they're not looking at it the same. They're actually looking at what they want with you and the potential that you could do that too. So they're more concerned over you actually being taken than this conversation that's coming in. They're reflecting back to it feels behavioral. It's behavioral energy that they're looking at. And again, they know that you've matured, so they don't want anyone at a lower frequency. They're not looking at that at this point. This is a very karmic cycle. As I mentioned, the Capricorn eclipse occurred. Let me look. I'm really feeling during a lot of these, I'm getting a surprise coming up, but I feel it can be linked to Neptune retrograde. It is retrograde till the end of the year, but it feels more current. It doesn't feel that far out. I do feel some of them are going to be receiving letters. But I do feel during this process, this month can be a very surprising month for both energies. I'm also feeling that there is communication coming. I'm just feeling a lot of paperwork. It's really strange. I'm getting this energy here as paperwork. We've got 2 cards with messenger. There's a lot of energy coming up to do with families and communication. And it's coming up in a sense that they know the messages are coming. They know the communication's coming in. They just want it done and dusted. It's like finalising things, but it feels pettiness. It does feel pettiness. I don't know why I'm picking anger now, but I don't feel it's on feminine side. I feel it's on masculine's. Ooh. There you go. Reunion. There's something to do with documentation. Now, each of you are going to be at different energies in the journey. Thanks, Star. There is a jealousy surrounding external energies. But look, due to the circumstances that was going on around them and third-party energy and interferences, it appears to be they've seen the truth of the situation. This is what they're wanting and moving towards. This is them wishing to communicate with you. This is a person at their tails, and I've been having that for a few months now. And I mentioned it to a couple of my private clients that, you know, there's certain things you try not to say on YouTube, because unless you're talking to the person and you can energetically gauge their frequency and, you know, whether they have a sense of humor. When our guides speak to us and show us certain imagery, it's not that we directly take on that disposition. That's our innate way of articulating it. And sometimes we have to pause and go, that may come across as impolite. But when you're trying to move away from a circumstance and you've really felt you've reached that conclusion, you've made it perfectly clear, when somebody is nagging and groveling and ripping at you to stay the same, even if they don't have any intent to be with you, this could be karmics, it could be external situations. It's really like, you know, from the analogy of what Source was showing me, it's belittling. So I'm going to say it, and please don't shade me, it's Mercury retrograde. I was seeing an angry, yappy chihuahua. I think it was a Shih Tzu. But you know when someone's screaming at you, and it was more the analogy of, no, this is the way it's going to be. When the person has made their mind up and they've really felt that, and this is for all of us, it's, you know, it's that it was a demeanor of the person looking at them going, what are you doing? Like, you don't even want me. And we've come to this agreement. This is not going to work. We have tried. Why are you now begging me, groveling at me, screaming at me, whatever it be, even messing with people? You know, if you know you don't want that person, then it does make you look small. And the yapping and the biting, it was the vision that was being seen was a dog biting at a leg. And it was because it demeans you. What's the word? It makes one look small when you're begging for something that you don't want, and it clearly is over and no investment has been placed there. Does that make sense? And I've done it myself. So, you know, yeah, good old days. It's like, please don't leave me. And it's like, then you look back and you go, wow, man, you best be putting your crown on and walking away. I'm begging for no one. It's like, you want to be here, peace, love, like you don't, okay, God bless. Thank you, goodbye. So even little old Yildiz has done that, okay? And I thought to myself, that's how I would have looked, like a barking, yapping little chihuahua, begging somebody who was like, okay, I thought we made it perfectly clear this was over, so what the heck are you doing? This is kind of the energy coming in. So they did not see that back then, right? And the way they're looking at it is, why the heck? They're disregarding one message and tuning into, you know, moving forward. All right. A lot of this come up all month. There is a lot of jealous energy around. I'm going to pull a clarifier on that, and I'd say it's a light energy. Hi, Eddie. How are you? I just want to, I don't like that. Okay. If there is some shady energy, some of you may collectively be waiting for it to pop off. And you're like, okay, these shady low frequency energies, when is this going to get nut? Look, Neptune retrograde. Chiron, when are you going retrograde? July 11th in Aries at 9 degrees until December, the end of the year, okay? And then it hits the 4-degree mark in December. That's a long time. So if suddenly you guys have been feeling very energetic and then suddenly really tired, it's because Chiron's going retrograde. So we're in the shadow of it moving towards going retrograde. So yes, Aries has moved, you know, Mars has moved into Aries, which will energize you. And from the higher frequency of aspects, you can start moving forward from a low. And the reason I did the karmic reads from a zodiac perspective was to show you we can even fall into that energy of lower frequency if we have attachments. And, you know, it can really show you how far you can't. If you've got attachments to feeling, yeah, it can be divorce. You know, oh my gosh, I can't leave this circumstance because of cash. Well, hey, we have hands, we have tools, we need to sort that out then. And I laughed at the situation this morning that I was talking about because in certain circumstances, I was literally creating blockages in a connection I'd been in many moons ago. And it was, the money, the, you know, this, that. And there was so many things that universe was giving me solutions. To a point, it was almost like, Yildiz, what's your excuse? Like, if you were happy, you would not be thinking this way. So why does this keep coming up for you? And women a lot of times will be there a lot longer, even if the person's the most magical person. It's almost like you're trying to negotiate with yourself and say, no, it's okay, I should be really grateful. But it's not about gratefulness. It's about who are you? Who are you? What's right for you? And masculines, to a degree, they tolerate things a lot longer too. But, once they've made up their mind, this is why I'm saying the Chihuahua energy. It's like, it's taken me a long time to get here. And once they do, there's no turning back. I mean, so if this negotiation is coming through, in a sense, from jealous energies, they haven't earned it, so therefore they can't grovel, but they're waiting. They're waiting for this to pop off. And I feel both energies, masculine and feminine. You know who has eyes on you. You're aware of it. Yeah, something's fishy. I'm feeling something's fishy there. But you're focusing on, okay, whatever this is, it could be dirty laundry coming up. It could be, and again, the karmic cycle is right in front of it. So I would say, we go and have that beautiful Capricorn eclipse, which wasn't too bad. Very 10th house energy at a collective level. It is going to be a surprise. There is going to be communication coming in. Who's demeaning? Oh. Yes, I don't know, man. But look, overall, whatever this is, 9 times out of 10, tower moments and things to that degree in any of our lives, they actually do create solutions and clarity. We do need to be careful with our throat chakra. So if I have offended anyone, I don't mean to. Okay. The ascension aspect of things, both of you are going to feel pretty tired. Again, I'm seeing masculines go through large ascension here. But it is going to be a change. Some of the purging habits, I'm going to pull an extra card. I'm seeing them purging habits, unhealthy ways. This could even be, drinking, smoking, fatigue. So if you're feeling fatigued now, feminine, once your energy picks back up again, I feel within a week, 2 weeks, masculines will come through. It's always the way it goes. I'm feeling an old habit come up here. Really walking away from people who aren't doing work on themselves. I just feel healthy boundaries. There may be some ego and how do I place it? There can be a conversation, an argument coming up with external energies, that is naysays, having comments towards you or masculine as to what you have and hadn't done. Have you done the work? Why are you so happy? Any of that. Both of you are going to be coming in like the Swords energy. Look, I'm independent. You might be very harsh towards people, creating very strong boundaries. But all of the negative aspects, it's to end this cycle. So at a purgatory level, what's coming up, it can be death, it can be health, money, finances. I'm also seeing external influences, almost like you're coming home to self, purging it, exhausted, and then looking at it like it is what it is. It's just this pure acceptance of it is what it is. Now, masculines are in sacral chakra energy, which is creativity energy. Yes, it is the devil card in the tarot, but it's more because it's amping up, they're ready to own their power. And a huge part of the journey for both males and females in ascension is owning your power and healthy boundaries. But the healthy boundaries is not, it's with yourself. It's you being able to directly communicate and say, this is or isn't for me. I'm going to face my fears. I'm not going to tap into addictive tendencies. I'm not going to tap into lower frequency activities. I'm just going to speak my truth. And a lot of times this comes up. There is a lot of reflection over the wounds, where some of them they have addressed, where some of them they haven't, and what they're needing to do to actually balance that. But feminines, you have the same energy. You've got the heart chakra activation, so there can be a purge tuning into that. But the reason why it's occurring is to do with that scarred energy. Okay? But you do have heart chakra. You're having a higher heart chakra purge, which is Chiron in Aries. So you guys are tapping into that energy, and externally for them, you guys are doing the same, except theirs is from an external. And this is a great way for me to show you how we mirror the energy. Masculines on the external, looking at things physically happening directly in front of them. So this is happening on an internal, rather. So they're tapping into their feminine energy, because what goes inside us is the emotions. So they're tapping into the feminine at the moment. And on the external, high heart chakra, Chiron. And feminines on the internal, heartbreak, purging, abandonment, why did you leave me, then coming to that closure point. Why? Because of seeing maybe other people, or even feeling the energy come through. Does that make sense? Are you seeing masculines inside, feminines inside? Masculines outside, not getting a lot of compassion in their life. Maybe for feminines, you're seeing other people maybe having traditional, beautiful, standard relationships. You're like, where's this person at? Okay, does it make sense? Let's say, where are masculines at? Looking at the addictive tendencies, looking at the past. This is in the past position. All right. What they're wanting is this. Okay, that contract, that paperwork coming up, closing karmic cycles, divorces, severing laces, cutting cords. This is cutting cords energy. This is separation. Also, it's ending cycles, especially in the placement over here. Okay, in order to have the relationship, this is in the relationship kind of position for masculine and feminine, right? This is in the same placement. So they know what they need to do to get that. They're thinking of that and they want that, but to get it, they've got to end that. So they already know the next direct step to take. It is mind energy. A lot of mind games going on around them. So if you're receiving mind games, tap out of it. This is what's happening to them at the moment in their direct surroundings. Like I said, when they're doing that closure work and they're looking at, okay, where was my codependent energy? Where was their manipulation? Where was their toxicity? Drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever that be. Seeing due to why that was. It appeared that it was due to not wanting commitment, but it was from a pain body experience of something separate. Let's ask. What was this due to, please? The crowning energy as well. Look, the lack of compassion and care, the inability to fix things after disaster has occurred. Great passion is stirring in them for that, and it is really scaring them. Childhood, there you go. Childhood conditioning. Yes, we're on YouTube, okay? Yeah. Look, I'm really feeling here, they're really feeling emotional to do with this healing. This is a card of Aries as well. This is inner child healing, Mercury and Cancer. It's bringing up all these pain body experiences from the past where there is ego. But it's more from the perspective of, look, you would want that to be there. I mean, if they were coming through having, it appears on the surface very rigid, but emotionally, yes, what's going on inside is unhealed. So it's coming up at the moment for them because they're trying to reach that spiritual closure, that this very difficult phase of their life that they're tying out. that they've done all they could have done to make all parties happy. But again, we can't make everyone happy. And our childhood conditioning does not define us. It's very hard to outlearn things that we've been taught. If we really step back from a lot of our conditioning from childhood, I used to say to a girlfriend of mine, if you want to know whether it's your belief system, does it feel comfortable? And B, if it's coming up and it's something mother or father would have wanted you to do over you feeling you'd like to do, say the word Vegemite, because I'm in Australia. You can pick any word to really show the psychology surrounding some of the reasons why we choose to do what we do. Are our belief systems, racism, anything to do with that actually us, or is it childhood conditioning? And it's where we came from. It's who we know. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's for us to just sit with that energy and tune into it. So I do feel masculines at the moment are really tuning into a lot of what people have said, maybe even from their childhood, what their belief systems were. And looking at it in this Aries and Chiron energy is really making them feel a little bit confused. Am I a good person? Am I a bad person? How do I fix that? How do I heal that? Am I an ego? Stuck. Pause. Feels like they can't move forward. Why? Because there's a blockage. So they're trying to look at that because they won't bloody let it go. And then it comes up heavier to a point they purge the ego. Once they purge the ego, what happens then? Then they are back in love. They have healed. Makes sense. It's exactly the way I explain it on YouTube. We go through the 7 stages of healing. You hit a snag in the road. You know what you need to do. They've decided they know what they want. Okay? Healing. Something that comes up in a painful experience. The journey stops. I did say, if you feminines are feeling tired, in about 2 weeks, they're going to go through a bit of a purge, which is dissension. Which is off. I'm with my twin, so I see it happening all the time. I think it's funny. I'm like, wee, lots of energy. And then it's like, and I'm looking at them going, do you not feel this? Are you okay? Are you? Okay. 2 weeks later, tired as heck. Tired as heck. That's why I asked him the other day when I was on Facebook. How do you feel? Thoughts, purge of the ego. You think about it so much. You talk yourself as you talk to yourself. You're being mean. You're not letting it go. You're up in your head. You're repeating it. It's a bit like, they said I'm horrible. Shelley is living the dream. She's got me. And then you move back to love, which is, focusing on the path, ready to focus on love. Okay, the thing that's going to scare them is they don't know what to do from here. Feminines, you want justice. You want balance. You want a judgment. You're looking back to all the energy you invested in this. You had high expectations. You want your power back. You want to be the magician. You're in a bit of masculine energy at the minute, I will say. So transfer that into your day-to-day life. Change of plans is on the horizon. You don't know what it is. It's making you nervous. I feel some of you are going to be asked to do something, and this feels really odd. This is an odd download. I feel you're moving through this energy. You're going to move into this higher vibration, right? But somebody's asking you to do something out of left field. And it kind of feels off. It's either you're tuning into a physical situation, or, somebody's asking you to do something and it's linked to, and I'm not saying a date as in let's go have dinner, as in a time frame. And if it comes in synchronistically and you say, I don't know if I can do that, trust that, because I think it's clashing. Oh shit, I didn't even look, excuse my expression, but because I'm feeling like you're tuning into, see what happens when I channel cards? I was just about to say, you're having a psychic download, because it's like I can feel their energy very close. if that comes up with you, always trust it, because it's almost like you're thinking, yeah, but I don't think I'll be here. You could be in a foreign country and your twin could be somewhere else, and you're just like, somebody's asking you to go, for a weekend away or catch up for dinner, and you're like, yeah, I don't think I'll be here. It won't make sense. You have to trust it, because your destiny is part of union. You're joining. Are you? I am so washed out today, and I was like, oh, whatever. Yeah. Look at the depth. See? Twin flame union. Look at this damage. Giggle, you could have told me. I have a war wound. That's twin flame union. So, do your healing. See, it's like, I'm the tree, okay? I've been tagged. The tree has been tagged. He'll laugh at me. I'll be saying, you used to send me to the kids' school looking like that. I was like, ladies don't do that, okay? No. That's small. I mean, I turned up at the school one time and I looked like a leper. I could see the reflection in the window. I'm like, okay, joint energy before I go red on screen, and I don't think that's possible because I do look anemic at the moment. I'll have to mascara it. Foundation it. Do I take those? Well, it looks like they're going to be brave, but that's too many. Nope. Something to do with children may be coming up this week, but again, it can be inner child wounds. This can also be co-creative energy. You wanting to build, you wanting to move to the next level. But these are new. It makes sense with the Capricorn axis because a lot of us at a collective level are looking at new ways. New ways we can build. So it's more to do with, this can even be realities based upon, children energy. So the new beginning can be buying a home, moving homes, starting a business, merging. But it's together. Whatever this is, it's to do with the together path. It's not as in you two being separate. These are plans physically moving forward at the moment. Even if you can't see it, look, this is why I say the coaching is so important. You may not understand that your wounds do create blockages in the path. Bloody computer. I'm telling you, I do not enjoy Mercury retrograde. Yeah, you're going to have to be mind brave. Yeah, because look, one thing that came up this morning, and especially when I do look at twin flame reads, sometimes it's like you're looking for the purge under your armpit. You're like, I've healed everything. What are you talking about? There's nothing here. I'm fine. I'm ascended. Why hasn't this moved? It can be a set belief. It can be something that's why I prefer the coaching sessions, in a sense that you guys can either ask me questions or I can do the coaching one-on-one with you, behind the scenes in our private sessions when I have my consults. Because I can actually key in where the mirror is. And once we see that and you can start working on that, you will get contact. I'm driving. I'll have to rewatch this, Yildiz. Did you look at your karmic video, Mark? So did anyone look at their karmic videos? The ones for the karmic? Did we look at them? It was more from, it's a hickey. So if you get fed up and just go cold and pull away, but you've got to ask yourself why you feel that way, because that would have come up with other people too. Oh, thanks, Giggle. Sometimes you can look at the zodiac sign of the masculine. The karmic, one of them is the same zodiac sign. So all three of us are the same zodiac sign. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, if you don't know, don't stress. If anything, it was just a really unique experience to do it, to see where the energies were moving from the general energy to the karmic energy with those zodiac signs, of how very you could see where the awakened state was, that it's bouncing off, and it will get to a space where they will have to own certain blockages. Yes. Did you see my face on something? I wasn't meaning to be rude. It was just, I was baffled. I was like, wow. I mean, I've got a creative brain, but I didn't think I should have been more creative, really. I do think it's unique, though. A lot of times karmics feel we do have a lot of power over masculines. I think that's so funny. It's such a codependent perspective. We don't have power over anybody. And if we did, I can tell you damn straight, my twin flame union would have happened centuries ago. Centuries, my love. Nobody has power over anyone. It's so condescending. It's almost like my ex doesn't have a brain. He got a brain. And if they don't talk, it's because you don't care to listen. So they just don't tell you because you don't listen. Should I watch only my sun's sign and his, or moon and rising? Are we talking about the karmic reads? Don't smash yourself with that energy. You can look at Venus as well. From the Venus perspective. But you'd need to look at more the romantic aspects of that sign. But yeah, sun and moon. Yeah. For the karmic, I would say just probably the moon energy, if anything. Hi, True Heart. How are you, beautiful? Are you behaving? I mean, you do. You always do, right? Any questions in the house? I think the kookaburras are flying into my window. Good. Okay, so the one thing I will say, I am seeing at the moment, some feminines further back are experiencing blockages. You've got to link that blockage right away. You don't want to keep in that energy. It's going to stagnate your journey. The blockage can come up to your belief system, healing, the way to look at something. I might come back a little bit on today and do a bit of a coaching session for some of you. So if you're wanting that, after this video is uploaded, comment, and I'll see how many have actually said it after the video. And if the tally's big enough, I will come back and I will do that today. But if it's not large enough, I'm not going to come back. I'm just saying. I need enough comments on the uploaded video to motivate me to come back. And whatever you are going to want to ask me, hit me up with it and we can look at it. It can be a perspective. It can be a spiritual blockage. It can be a psychic question. It can be a super chat, whatever you want that to be. I do have a client today. And at some point I need to get these redone. I've got paint on them. Want to laugh, my new office is near his work, legit. Oh my gosh. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be at the opposite side of the planet. Yes. But they're just human beings like us. But you see the perspective of how they're seeing things, how they're handling their money, their career, their finances, their emotions, what house comes up for them. And it was more how they saw that. And I did pull a romantic section in the read that linked into what their thoughts were, connected to TF. and it was for masculines or feminines, TF, whoever was watching or had dealt with them, and external, you know, be it you're together or not. And yeah, it was pretty interesting to look at that. You don't have to look at the romantic side of things, but from a synchronistic energy, you could see problems playing out in certain circumstances. And the odd thing was, when I did the videos, for instance, when I did Cancer, I did the Cancer video for the month with the astrology and everything, cleansed the cards, went back, did mid-month, went back, cleansed them again, and then did the same zodiac sign, and I did the karmics roads. And regardless, it went from positive cards to very heavy cards. And I was like, that's freaky, because it was cleansed. Same zodiac sign whole way through. And again, it came through every time. So I do believe they are all going through. And that's the importance of us as human beings to work on our blockages. It will do, you know, twin flame aside, if you can't deal with your blockages, you won't go after that career. You won't take a chance. You won't jump on a Ferris wheel. You won't go on sky. You won't do the challenging things of living this life. Many of us do believe we've had other lives. Regardless, you got this one right here. What are you doing with it? So you want to get the best out of that life. You know, not being fearful to speak your truth, not being fearful to make, you know, a lot of us have beat ourselves up way too much over making a mistake. It's like, I should have turned left, not right. Now my whole life's over. It's like, if you live there, yes, it is. You've got to let it go. If you can't, you're not going to have that new beginning. You won't have time to have a big party. You'll be with your twin. You tend to go into hermit mode for a bit and you're doing 3D work. But again, it depends on the astrology. 2020 has been a lot about yin-yang. Have you ever been in the same house with someone you don't love? Have you? Because I'm telling you, that's not fun. Okay, now think back to that. How great was that? You know, fake it till you make it don't work in those situations. If you're not happy, it's going to come to the forefront. And if they're calling you whinging about their karmic, yet they're still staying there, can you imagine how toxic that is? Stop talking to them and then they'll really work it out. They'll be going, heck, she's left. My therapist, the love of my life has left. Yeah, well, you know, we've all been there, so we can't, like, why be jealous? Why be jealous? You should be sitting there, like I said, you know, with your pina colada. Not a physical alcoholic one, you know, I'm on YouTube. But you should be sitting there thinking, geez, are you having fun? I hope you're having fun. I've been where you've been. Have you worked it out yet? None of us should be doing anything that way. Look, there are times, if I look back to my life, yes, there are times I do things due to it's what we should do. I probably don't really do that these days. No. Why? Because I don't want to. You know, I can blame the moon. Or Milli Vanilli. I was so devastated when I found out they were lip syncing. Who knows Milli Vanilli? Blame it on the rain. I was devastated. I was devastated. I mean, can you imagine? Being at home with somebody who you're like, you're nagging, you're barking at me, you're bugging me. I remember that song too. I gave that to a karmic. You're bugging me. It was my daughter's dad. You know, and you were sitting there and you're like, no, it's going to get better. No, it's going to be fine. No, Houston, we have a problem. Oh, I'll write it so I don't get in trouble. because I can't say it. Any guess? Well, no, we're not playing noughts and crosses. This is going to be food. Okay. Well, I probably should love you and leave you. Again, as I mentioned. I don't know, man. Only because, like, I've been a lower frequency before. We could call them the trainees of society. You know, it's like karate. Have you worked it out yet? Okay, cool. 2 seconds. You should have worked it out by now. His daughter has started doing tarot now. Oh. While we believe they need help, they're going to need help. Masculines do their healing work in a very different way. 9 times out of 10 they know, but the issue is they just haven't chosen to address it. So it's not as per se that they're not awoke to know what things are. They know that enough. And as for ascension, you do tend to find that it psychically will come through in their mind, like bombardment. So they're going to get to a point they're going to call you because it's going to drive them crazy. What do the singers do? What was it back in the 80s, in the 70s, and the 60s, Shelley? A very twin. I mean, okay, if we needed to put a tag on, like, the way the masculines were, and SD and rock and roll. As my twin says, clap, clap. But, I mean, it inspires us not to let it go down that way, right? But to get to a perspective of maybe doing things fun, loosening up a little bit now and then. Yeah. So that's what you missed. That was for the lovely that said, what did you miss? That was my job. All of that, we had fun. Yes, it was great. Love and light, if you are wanting a booking and you do want me to tune into you or coach you to help you through the path and pick into anything that is coming up. I will be here more regularly. I haven't forgotten you, so I do have some clients today. If you are wanting me to come back for a coaching session today, remember to respond after the video is uploaded, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for your donations.